اوف
جنجي انا دخلت مساحة البوينت حرفيا.
اوف انا رميت رميه ب 20.
انت دخلت جبت بتاع 60 كيلات. جنجي
بس ده جونجي وود.
الوود هياكل كده.
خش انت الكاونتر وود
بس خلاص.
Sparta is invincible!
تاني ده فتح. احنا عملنا هنا اداء عشان التيم.
Welcome again to another episode. In this one, we will dig deep into the Sparta chosen unit. This unit is amazing in every way possible. Starting from the 1-second parry on the skill number 1 that charges your revenge bar pretty quickly, to the advance that counters literally everything. Just one quick note in case you do not know, Zweihände have a 2-second parry or block window after you press the first skill for the second time. Anyways, so as I was saying, and as you have seen in the beginning of the video, Spartans can actually counter most of the cavalry if they are not in their CC immune state or mid to late charge state, like the hussars or the monastics or, by the way, the yeomen. Timing is everything for the advanced skill. Since this advance is the core of the unit, let's explain it further. So the advance is 3-stage skill. First, we have the slam or the shield slam, which deals tons of damage like 2 to 3k as blunt damage and underline blunt damage. This slam repeats 3 times as you press the skill again at the correct timing with this yellow icon shining on the left, so do not miss that. When you do that correctly, at the end of the advance, the Spartans will jump and deal even more piercing damage. that can reach up to 10 or even 15k as a critical hit on some targets. The third stage, which is the longest, is during the advance between the two marks. They keep pushing, dealing small but continuous damage. That damage is what will decide how you want to play them. This small part that so many ignore is everything to the Spartans. Let me elaborate. So Spartans has a passive of healing through damage dealt. So if we boost that small but continuous damage, they will heal greatly during their advance. And that is what you see here, especially when combining that with the offensive veterancy line that gives them an extra target. And also adding to the mix their first doctrine that gives 50 more damage during the advance. All of this mixed up with some good doctrine like these boosts the damage of the Spartan to the range from 300 to 500 per hit during their advance, instead of the usual 50 to 80 if you go with the tanky line without any offensive doctrines. So let's stop here for a minute. Spartans are great in both lines, offensive and defensive. However, the playstyle may be affected greatly, or let's say their ability to handle different targets and different situations. In this video, we will focus on the offensive build, the one I like the most, but do not get me wrong, the tanky build is very good and very effective. But of course, it needs your teammates most of the time to handle the damage dealing part. So as I was saying, Spartans with the doctrines and the offensive veterancy in line are very capable of doing pretty much anything. Just always keep in mind that the skill number 1 strikes, then makes the unit go into shield formation, which is the F2. And during the advance, you do not give any orders till you see your unit covered in red aura and jumping on the enemy, dealing tons of damage. Because that will cancel the advance. If you give any order during the advance, you will cancel it. This is very crucial. If you advance, let them be. You do not cancel your advance under any circumstances. Keep that in mind. Now let's explain why. During the advance, they will take minimal damage from all sources, and the damage will spread out to every single soldier. This is the passive they have. During any skill they have, either skill number 1 or skill number 2, any damage taken will spread on the unit. For example, during the advance, if a bow shoots his ultimate arrow on one soldier, he will not die, and the damage of the arrow or even the ballista will be distributed equally across all soldiers in the squad. This is also a very important note to keep in mind. So, a quick recap on my playing style. 1. I mostly wait for the first push of the advance since it deals some nice damage, either by waiting a hero to one-shot or to get very close to a unit before advancing it. 2. I use the block of the skill number 1, which by the way charges the revenge bar really nicely, and by the way, I repeat again, during any skill, any damage taken is split among all soldiers in the squad. If I advance, I just let go of the unit till they finish the advance, no matter what, while pressing the skill with the yellow mark on the left. Remember, that yellow mark is very important. Without doing it correctly, they will not deal the 15k damage crit at the end. Last but not least, in case you want to go defensive, these are the doctrines that you want to change. And in this case, you might consider using the second doctrine, which allows them to knock down enemies in their formation if the rage is full. Now to the counters part. So if you want to counter this unit, it's actually simple if they do not have their advance ready. You can counter them with Reapers, Zweihanders, or even Samurai. But in the case of the Samurai, you will need a hero to knock them down first, before the Samurai can skewer them all. This is actually why so many people are going for the Zweihanders lately. Because with the Spartans having their advance ready or no, Zweihanders' damage on the second skill is pretty much enough to wipe out the unit completely, even before it completes its advance. Especially if you have a combat doctrine on them to give them CC, they can go toe-to-toe easily with the Spartans. However, if the Spartans has their rage full or ready to go, the only 3 counters are actually cavalry like the monastics, hussars, or yeomen. And yes, you did hear me right, yeomen, but of course with their mastery on. So these units I have just mentioned can deal devastating damage in their charge, able to wipe out Spartans, since they break the block of the Spartans instantly. But on the other hand, it's really hard to pull off a full distance charge using these cavalry over here. So the second option we have are the Siphonarioi, especially if they have high tier doctrines. With a good distance and some experience, they can actually melt Spartans. Third, which also might be a surprise to some of you, we have the Palace Guard. And before you rush anything, Palace Guards do not counter Spartans, they are just a precaution or something to slow them down. Let me explain. They can be very annoying for the Spartans' advance due to the 5-second CC immunity they get with the Guard of the Throne skill, which is the second skill which makes them brace. They will not stop the Spartans' advance, but they will hold their ground, preventing further enemies to follow behind the Spartans. And with some experience, you can get your Palace Guards to hit the Spartans in the back during their advance after they pass. Fourth and last, of course, we will not forget our beloved Sipahis. And yes, Sipahis are actually very viable this season, which can go toe-to-toe with the Spartans solo and defeat them, which makes a very nice trade-off, by the way. Of course, the timing of the engagement should be during the Spartans' advance on someone else, or with the Spartans not having their rage full. In these two cases, if the Sipahis fully commit to an engage on the Spartans and land their charge correctly, they will wipe them out. And in case you are struggling with using the Sipahis, I got you. I will leave a video for them at the end of this video, so make sure to check it out. Last note in this video, the fastest way to charge Spartan's revenge or rage bar is by using arrows. When arrows hit their shields, it charges the rage pretty fast, so be careful of that. If you are playing some useless archers in the background while your teammate is fighting a Spartan, you might be actually helping the enemy team. And that was it. Hope you did learn something, and see you soon in the battlefield, Warlords.